Welcome back to episode 25 of the Believe in Balance podcast. I'm finally back after getting my new book, Closure After Stroke, off to print. While I was away, I let Gemini and AI dive into a lot of my Believe in Balance course materials to do a deep dive. I'm now back at the mic, live in person, and I wanted to just thank everyone for your patience while I kind of locked myself away to do the final writing and editing of my manuscript. But happy to report that it's now live on Amazon in Kindle format, and in the fall the print books will be out. In fact, I'm getting my author's copy in the next few days to do the final proofs on. So we're back at balance because a big part of my book, I talk about how I restored my balance, the work I did to do that, and I include a special offer in the book to my Believe in Balance course for anyone who writes a course review. But for today's episode, I want to talk about why balance breaks and falls happen using my own story. And I'm going to be including this also over on Substack at Achieve Balance if you want to read this article as well. But this is going to be part of a companion guide for the bonus resources from my book, Closure After Stroke, as well. And you can head over to No Stroke if you want to take part in that virtual book tour that's coming up as I break down a lot of the chapters or periods in that book. So for today, without further ado, let's drop into this episode again, which you can read over on No Stroke, or you can just listen here. The audio will be on the page as well, and there'll be a link to my book, Closure After Stroke, in this episode show notes. So enjoy this episode and reach out to me in the comments or message me at No Stroke or Achieve Balance if you have questions about this episode. Why balance breaks and falls happen. My story and a shared goal about restoring balance. I still remember the exact moment my left leg stopped listening to my brain. 1 second, I was getting out of bed to head downstairs to the kitchen. The next second, a tsunami in my head started to wreak havoc with my balance. I started to drag my left leg and stub my toe as I continued down the stairs holding on. I caught my toe again and fell down the last 2 stairs. Still in denial of what was happening, I tried to walk through the door to the kitchen and smacked my left shoulder against the door jamb. Standing at the kitchen counter, reaching for the milk to pour into my coffee mug, I dropped it, and the milk spattered everywhere. I stumbled and fell again, trying to clean it up. I didn't know it yet, but I was having a stroke, and that fall was the first of many. Over the next 9 months, I stumbled in grocery store aisles, in hospital hallways, on my own front step. Each fall carved away a little more of my confidence. I started planning my entire day around not falling. Which stroller I could take to the bus stop to hide my balance issues, which stores had the sturdiest shopping carts to lean on, which rooms in my house felt dangerous after dark. The world shrank as weakness and loss of sensation on my left side controlled me, and honestly, so did I. I was scared and felt alone. Here's what nobody tells you about losing your balance after a stroke. It's not just a physical problem, it's an identity problem. Before, I was a physical therapist who spent my days helping other people stand steady. After, I was someone who couldn't trust my own legs. The gap between who I was and who I'd become felt like a canyon, and I had no idea how to build a bridge across it. So I did what I always do when I don't know the answer. I started measuring, not the vague feelings or hopeless guesses, with actual tests. I timed myself standing up from a chair and how many times I could repeat it in 30 seconds. I measured how far I could walk before my gait got sloppy. I tracked how many seconds I could hold a tandem stance without grabbing the wall. That data became my anchor. It told me exactly where I was, and it gave me a place to start. I also went back to the research. I'd known about the Otago exercise program for years. It's one of the most thoroughly studied fall prevention programs in the world, developed in New Zealand and tested with thousands of older adults. But I'd never thought of it as something for me. That changed fast. The program's core exercises, its slow progression, its emphasis on building real-world balance. It was exactly what I needed, and I suspected I wasn't the only one. As I got stronger, I started weaving in the Otago exercises into my framework that I now use with every client I work with. That framework is simple. It's a 3-step process where you measure, manage, and move. 3 simple steps that turn a scary, overwhelming problem into something you can actually tackle. Measure where you are right now. No judgment, just numbers. Manage your plan based on those numbers and what they tell you. Then move progressively, safely, one day at a time. The 3 M's aren't a gimmick. They are the system that got me off the floor and back on my feet. Today, in addition to my private physical therapy practice, I'm also a certified aging in place specialist and a certified age tech specialist. Since my stroke, I've led fall prevention and digital age tech support workshops for hundreds of people, stroke survivors, older adults, anyone whose balance has started to feel like an enemy instead of an ally. I've watched people go from gripping walls to walking confidently across parking lots. I've seen the look on someone's face the first time they realize they just navigated a crowded room without once thinking about falling. That look never gets old. My book in my course serve as a guide, and I wish someone had handed me these tools the day after my stroke and the balance issues that followed. It's built on the Otago program and organized around the 3 M's. It's not just a collection of exercises. You can find those anywhere. It's a step-by-step system for rebuilding stability from the ground up, designed specifically for people whose balance has been disrupted by stroke or neurological conditions. You don't need a gym membership, fancy equipment, or anyone's permission. You just need to be willing to start where you are. I want to tell you a little bit more about what this guidebook and course is not. Let me be clear about something right up front. This is not one of those glossy exercise books with smiling models doing perfectly timed lunges on the beach. You won't find a one-size-fits-all routine or cheerful promises that you'll be hiking mountains in 6 weeks. Those books have their place, I guess, but they weren't written for us. They weren't written for people who understand what it feels like when your body suddenly stops cooperating, when the limbs feel weak, when standing up from a chair requires genuine courage, and when the fear of falling has become louder than any motivational quote. This is also not a replacement for working with your doctor or physical therapist. If you're currently under medical care, the exercises and strategies in this book and in my course are designed to complement that work, not compete with it. I'll say more about how to coordinate with your healthcare team later on, but for now, just know this book and my guide respects the complexity of your situation. It doesn't pretend to have all the answers. What it does have is a clear structure, an evidence base, and a whole lot of hard-won understanding. As I say in my book, Closure After Stroke, which I'll also put a link to in the show notes, when you've seen one stroke, you've seen one stroke. Meaning we survive with our own deficits and limitations, and the playbook you carve out in your own recovery is specific to you. This program is meant to give you a playbook to tweak and make your own. Finally, this book and my course are not about going backward. I'm not going to spend chapters helping you mourn the balance you used to have or trying to restore some pre-stroke version of yourself that no longer exists. That chapter is closed. What we're going to do instead is build forward together. We're going to figure out what your body can do right now, and then we're going to make it capable of more, safely, systematically, and at your pace. This is not about recovery in the rearview mirror sense. It's about strength that moves ahead of you, clearing the path. My promise, by the time you finish this course, and if you dive deeper in Closure After Stroke, my book, you will know exactly where your balance stands today. Not in vague terms, but in actual measurable numbers that you can track and improve. You will have a customized set of exercises drawn from the Otago program that match your current ability level and progress as you move forward. You will understand how to manage the fear of falling so it stops running your life. And you will have a system, the 3 M's, that you can return to any time your balance shifts, which it might. Bodies do change. That's not failure. That's just being human. More than any of that, I hope you walk away from the pages in my course and the videos that come with it feeling something I desperately needed during my own recovery. Hope that isn't fragile. Not the kind of hope that evaporates the first time you stumble. Real hope. The kind built on evidence and structure and thousands of small wins stacked on top of each other. That hope doesn't come from positive thinking. It comes from doing the work and watching yourself get stronger. That's what I want for you. So here's where we start. Not with my story anymore. You've heard that enough times. If you want a deeper dive on my motivation and my foundation that fueled my recovery, certainly order a copy of my book. Now we start with yours. In the next chapter, we're going to look closely at how balance actually works. We'll do this in the next podcast episode as well, so you can take these learnings on the road with you. We'll look at why it breaks after a stroke and why the standard advice falls so painfully short. Then we'll dive into the 3 M's and from there into the program itself. So take your time. There's no rush. The floor isn't going anywhere, and neither are you, except forward, one steady step at a time. If you're a paid subscriber at Achieve Balance and want to jump into the course right away at your own pace, I'll provide those links in the course. All 3 modules are already available with all the videos, and you can learn more about the course in my book, Closure After Stroke. That's all for now. Until next time, stay well, stay on your feet, keep the faith, and keep moving forward.